We are on the record for hearings in the matters listed in the North Dakota Industrial Commission hearing docket for August 25th, 2022. I am Stephen Nelson, hearing examiner for these hearings. We are at the hearing room for the Department of Mineral Resources, Oil and Gas Division, and it is 9:01 a.m. On the docket, the following matters will be continued or dismissed. Case number 29370 will be continued to September. Case number 29537 will be continued to September. Cases number 29314 and 29364 will be continued to September. Cases number 29540 and 29329 will be continued to September. Cases number 29542, 29543, and 29544 will be continued to September. Case number 29320 will be dismissed. Case number 29401 will be continued to September. Case number 29402 will be continued to September. And case number 29504 will be continued to September. On the supplemental docket, cases number 29382, 29383, 29384, 29385, and 29386 will be continued to September. The administrative docket starts on page 4 with case number 29540 and goes through case number 29505 and includes the docket supplement with cases numbers 29382 through 29386. Case number 29505 will be remanded back to this room. These cases, all other cases will be heard in the next room with Michael Zisch. Audio recordings of the cases on the administrative docket will be placed on the oil and gas website by the end of the week. If you wish to appear in one of the matters on the administrative docket, please appear in the next room. If there is opposition to the matter, it will be brought back into this room to be heard and your statements and evidence will be taken. We will begin with case number 29534, application of Continental Resources, Inc. for an order amending the field rules for the Little Knife and or Rattlesnake Point Bakken Pool, Dunn County, ND, so as to create and establish two overlapping 2560-acre spacing units comprised of Section 36, Township 147 North, Range 97 West, Section 31, Township 147 North, Range 96 West, Section 1, Township 146 North, Range 97 West, and Section 6, Township 146 North, Range 96 West, and Sections 12 and 13, Township 146 North, Range 97 West, and Sections 7 and 18, Township 146 North, Range 96 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near the section line between the existing spacing units of each proposed overlapping 2560-acre spacing unit and such further relief as appropriate. Will all interested parties please come forward?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, P.O. Box 1855, Bismarck, North Dakota, and I'm appearing in case 29534 on behalf of Continental Resources, Inc. We intend to call 3 witnesses in this matter. Mr. Scott Davis will be offering some land testimony. Mr. Tyler Gruenbacher, Gruenbacher, will be offering some geologic testimony, and Mr. Bray Brownrigg, Brownrigg, will be offering some engineering testimony. All 3 witnesses will be appearing by telephone.
All right. Mr. Davis, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Scott, please state your full name for the record.
Scott Davis,
And Scott, by whom are you employed,
Continental Resources,
and in what capacity?
as the Northern Region Lineman.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
I have.
For the further testimony, this witness that of an expert.
Testimony will be received as that of an expert.
Scott, let's turn to the packet of exhibits that I've distributed to the commission staff. Let's go first to what's been marked Exhibit L1. Would you tell us what L1 is and then briefly describe what's contained upon it?
Yeah, Exhibit L1 is our general locator map. The existing fields are outlined in blue, and then the 2 proposed 2560s, one is outlined in red and the other one is outlined in black, and they're both shaded in yellow.
And then L2, have you do the same thing there? First identify the exhibit and then briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Exhibit L2 is a land plat of Section 36 of 1 147 North, 97 West, and it contains the working interest summary for that section.
And L3.
L3 is a land plat of Section 1 of 146 North, 97 West, and contains the working interest ownership summary for that section.
And L4.
L4 is a land plat of an existing 1,280 acre spacing unit comprised of Section 31 of 147 North, 96 West, and Section 6 of 146 North, 96 West, and it contains the working interest ownership summary for those two sections.
And then finally L5. Or I'm sorry, not finally, L5, sorry.
L5 is the land plat for this proposed 2560 acre spacing unit comprised of Section 36 of 147 North, 97 West, Section 31 of 147 North, 96 West, Section 1 of 146 North, 97 West, and Section 6 of 146 North, 96 West, and contains the consolidated working interest summary for that proposed 2560 acre spacing unit.
Okay, now let's go to the next 2560. Let's go to Exhibit L6.
L6 is our land plat of Section 12 of 146 North, 97 West, and contains the working interest ownership summary for that section.
And L7.
L7 is a land plat of Section 13, 146 North, 97 West, and contains the working interest ownership summary for that section.
L8.
L8 is our land plat of an existing 1,280 acre spacing unit comprised of Sections 7 and 18 of 146 North, 96 West, along with the working interest ownership summary for those sections.
And L9.
L9 is our land plat for this proposed 2560 acre spacing unit comprised of Sections 12 and 13 of 146 North, 97 West, and Sections 7 and 18 of 146 North, 96 West, along with the consolidated working interest ownership summary for that proposed 2560 acre spacing unit.
And in that one situation where Continental has less than the majority interest in the 2560, will Continental have communications with other working interest owners to determine who should be the operator?
Yes, we will.
No further questions of the land witness.
Are there any questions from commission staff?
Scott, this is Bruce Hicks. Is there an AMI with Burlington?
Yes, that is correct. There is.
Okay, so that AMI, does that designate Continental as operator?
Yes, Continental is generally the operator in this area.
When I look at Section 1 on Exhibit L3, Section 1 on Exhibit L3 versus Section 12 on L6, those make up a spacing unit, right, a 1280? Why wouldn't the interest be the same in it? Wouldn't you be pulling in the entire 1280 into those two 2560s?
So which 2560 are we referencing?
Well, L3 is the first one that you outlined, which is in 36, 31, 1, and 6, right? But
That is correct.
but that interest is 100% Continental. And then on L6, Section 12 is the other base unit 1280 portion consisting of 1 and 12. And Continental doesn't own 100% there, and I was just confused on why they wouldn't be identical interests.
Because for that northern section line well, we are just including Section 1. Section 12 will not be included in that northern section line well. So Continental owns 100% of Section 1 and then just under 98% of Section 12.
Lawrence, can you explain why 12 would not become part and share within the North 2560?
Because not every operator interprets the pooling orders and pooling statute in North Dakota the way the Industrial Commission interprets it. And the matter is before the North Dakota Supreme Court, and we'll ultimately get a decision, hopefully from the North Dakota Supreme Court, as to who is correct, Continental or some of the other operators.
Has Continental always interpreted it like this?
I don't know the answer to that.
Do you know the answer to that, Scott?
Yes, we've always interpreted it this way.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from commission staff? Seeing none. Mr. Gruenbacher, can you hear me?
Yes,
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Tyler, state your full name for the record, please.
Tyler Gruenbacher,
And Tyler, by whom are you employed?
Continental Resources,
In what capacity?
as an operations geologist.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
Yes,
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
yes,
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
The testimony will be received as that of an expert.
Tyler, let's go to G1. Will you identify G1 and briefly discuss what's contained upon it?
sure. Exhibit G1, excuse me, Exhibit G1 is a general locator map showing our proposed spacing units, highlighted in yellow and then outlined in red and blue. Displayed on the map are 50-foot contours representing the depth of the Upper Bakken surface. The type log for the area, which is the Bang 1, is located by a red star, and this type log is representative of the rock character within our proposed two separate 2560-acre spacing units.
Okay, and G2?
Exhibit G2 is the type log denoted by the red star, and Exhibit G1, it displays the Bakken pool from 50 feet above the Upper Bakken Shale through the Bakken and Three Forks formations and into the Bird Bear formation. And the reservoir parameters that you can find at the bottom associated with the type log, and that's the reservoir parameters associated with the type log are in that text box at the bottom of the exhibit.
No further questions?
Any questions from commission staff? Seeing none. Mr. Brownrigg, can you hear me?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Ray, would you state your full name for the record, please?
Ray Brownrigg,
And Ray, by whom are you employed?
Continental Resources,
In what capacity?
senior engineer in the Resource Development Group.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
No.
What I'd like you to do, Ray, is briefly highlight for us your educational background and work experience.
Yeah, I went to the University of Oklahoma and graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Petroleum Engineering and worked for Schlumberger in a drilling capacity for a year. And then I worked at Chaparral Energy here in Oklahoma City for 10 years in various engineering roles and responsibilities, mostly in reservoir engineering. And recently I've been with Continental for 3 months now in my current role.
And in preparation for today's hearing, have you made a thorough study and review of all the relevant engineering matters concerning Continental's request in case 29534?
Yes.
And have you prepared or had prepared under your control and supervision some exhibits you intend to sponsor?
Yes.
And have you satisfied yourself as to the accuracy of those exhibits?
Yes.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
The testimony will be received as that of an expert.
Bray, let's go to Exhibit E1. What I'd like you to do is identify E1 and then briefly describe what's contained upon E1.
Yes, so Exhibit E1 shows the proposed directional well plot for the 2560 acre spacing unit. Shows the solid lines are existing lines, and the dashed red / pink lines are proposed wells. So these are the sections for the north well and the south well. The solid green line are existing Middle Bakken laterals, and the solid pink line is existing Three Forks 1 lateral.
Okay, let's go to Exhibit E2. Once again, identify the exhibit and then briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Exhibit E2 shows our typical Three Forks well construction diagram. And we have 9 5/8 surface casing set at an estimated 2,300 feet. And then we have our 8 3/4 intermediate hole. And then we will plan to set 7-inch casing at an estimated 11,100 feet. And then we would plan to TD the lateral at an estimated 21,000 feet measured depth, which would result in around a 9,000 foot lateral. We would have a cemented liner here with 45 plug and perf stages.
All right, and then E3. Once again, identify and briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
So Exhibit E3 is our reserves and gross economics exhibit for these wells here. Shows an example of the Three Forks well. Concerning the reserves basis, the initial rate would be 1,085 barrels of oil per day with a final rate of 1 barrel of oil per day, with an initial decline rate of 82%, and the exponent of 1.01. The cum GOR will be around 2,000 SCF per barrel. EUR for oil is estimated to be 418,000 barrels of oil. EUR for gas is 869 million cubic feet. And the EUR for BOE will be 562,000 BOE. Gross economics, we're running a flat $60 oil price and a flat $3 gas price. Drilling cost estimated to be around $8 million per well. This economic estimation is using $10,000 per month operating cost. We're showing here for this example working interest of 100% with a revenue interest of 81%. These metrics result in a net present value of around $2.1 million at 10% discount rate, with an internal rate of return of 26% and a payout of 3.4 years. The reservoir parameters shown below are taken from the geology exhibit showing the type well, the Bang 1, for the Three Forks zone.
Okay, and then Exhibit G1 is that a gas capture affidavit that the commission typically requires in these sorts of hearings.
Yes.
Bray, in your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
No further questions. Offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Are there any questions from commission staff? Seeing none. Anything further on this matter, Mr. Bender?
Nothing further.
That will conclude the hearing in case number 29534. Moving on. Case number 29535. Application of Continental Resources, Inc. for an order amending the field rules for the Catwalk and/or Last Chance Bakken Pool, Williams County, ND, so as to create and establish the following: 2 overlapping 1920-acre spacing units comprised of sections 28 and 33, Township 154 North, Range 100 West, and Section 4, Township 153 North, Range 100 West, and Sections 29 and 32, Township 154 North, Range 100 West, and Sections 5, Township 153 North, Range 100 West, authorizing the drilling of a total not to exceed 8 wells on each of the proposed overlapping 1920 acre spacing units, and an overlapping 3840 acre spacing unit comprised of sections 28, 29, 32, 33, Township 154 North, Range 100 West, and sections 4 and 5, Township 153 North, Range 100 West, authorizing the drilling of a total not to exceed 2 horizontal wells on or near the section line between existing spacing units on said proposed overlapping 3840 acre spacing unit and or such further relief. Will all interested parties please come forward?
Lawrence Bender, P.O. Box 1855, Bismarck, appearing in this matter, case 29535, on behalf of Continental Inc. We'll have, Continental Resources Inc., excuse me, and we'll have 3 witnesses. Mr. Matt McMurray will be offering some land testimony. Ms. Layla Harris will be offering some geologic testimony, and Mr. Jacob Ungentheim, Ungettheim, will be offering some engineering testimony. All 3 witnesses will be appearing by telephone.
Mr. McMurray, can you hear me?
I can.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Matt, please state your name for the record, please.
Matthew McMurray,
And Matt, by whom are you employed?
Continental Resources, Inc.,
What capacity?
senior landman.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously and had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
I have.
I'd offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
The testimony will be received as that of an expert.
Matt, let's go to the excuse me, I'm having trouble talking this morning. Let's go to the packet of exhibits for case 29535. Let's go first to what's been marked as Exhibit L1. Please identify that exhibit and then briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Exhibit L1 is a general locator map with the existing field outlines in blue. One of the proposed 1,920 acre spacing units is outlined in red, shaded in yellow. The other proposed 1920 is outlined in black, shaded in yellow. And the proposed 3840 section line acre spacing unit is shaded in green. I'm sorry, shaded in yellow and outlined in green.
And then Exhibit L2.
Exhibit L2 is a land plat for the proposed 1,920 acre spacing unit comprising sections 2833, 154 north, 100 west, and section 4, 153 north, 100 west, along with a working interest summary for that proposed 1,920 acre unit.
And L3.
L3 is a land plat for the proposed 1,920 acre spacing unit comprising sections 29 and 32, 154 north, 100 west, and section 5, 153 north, 100 west, along with a working interest summary for that proposed 1920.
And L4.
L4 is a land plat for the proposed 3840 to be on the section line comprising the 6 sections mentioned in the previous 2 exhibits, along with a working interest summary for that proposed 3840.
No further questions for this witness.
Are there any questions from commission staff? Seeing none. Ms. Harris, can you hear me?
Yes,
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
yes.
Layla, would you state your name for the record, please?
Layla Harris,
And Layla, by whom are you employed?
Continental Resources,
In what capacity?
Senior Operations Geologist.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
Yes, I have.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes,
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
The testimony will be received as that of an expert.
Layla, let's go to the next exhibit in the packet, 1G. Can you tell me what that is?
this is a general locator map with top buck and structure of 50-foot contours and the requested 2 proposed overlapping 1920 acre spacing units and one proposed overlapping 3840 acre spacing unit. The two 1920 acre spacing units are highlighted in yellow. One is outlined in red, one is outlined in black, and the 3840 acre spacing unit is also highlighted in yellow with an outline of green. The type log for this is the Bratling well, and that is designated by the red star.
Okay, then G2.
D2 is the type log, the Bratling 41331, shown on the other page, and the type log is logged from 50 feet above the upper Buchan into the lodge pole, down through the Bakken pool, through the Three Forks, and 50 feet into the Bird Bear. The reservoir parameters are outlined in the text box below the type log. And this is representative of those areas, highlighted in the black, red, and green.
No further questions of the geologic witness.
Are there any questions from commission staff? Seeing none, we'll move on to your next witness. And I apologize in advance, was it Ungatim?
That's how I pronounce it. I may be incorrect. Jacob, can you pronounce your name for us, please?
Yes, Jacob Ungentham.
Ungatim. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Jacob, why don't you state your full name for the record, first of all, please?
Jacob Ungentham,
And by whom are you employed?
Continental Resources, Inc.,
In what capacity?
Northern Region Resource Development Engineer.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
Testimony will be received as that of an expert.
Jacob, let's go to Exhibit E1. Can you identify E1 and then very briefly discuss what's contained on this exhibit?
Yes, Exhibit E1 is a directional spot for our proposed Wilson 1920 unit made up of Section 29 and 32, Township 154 North, Range 100 West, and Section 5, Township 153 North, Range 100 West. Our proposed Bratling unit is to the east, which is made up of Section 28 and 33, Township 154 North, Range 100 West, and Section 4, Township 153 North, 100 West. And then our proposed overlapping 3840 unit for the section line well is made up of Section 28, 29, 32, 33, Township 154 North, Range 100 West, and Section 4 and 5, Township 153 North, Range 100 West. The exhibit is showing both surface and bottom hole locations with existing Middle Bakken wells in solid green and existing Three Forks wells in solid pink. Future wells of interest are the dashed green lines representing Middle Bakken, the dashed pink lines representing Three Forks, and then the wells within the larger dashed black boxes in each 1920 are the in-unit wells, and those within the smaller black box straddling the hard line are the two section line wells.
Can you briefly describe for us what Continental's plan of development is? Will you drill some wells on each one of the 1920s first, and then come back and drill additional wells as well as the section line well? But just give us just a little bit of information about what Continental's plans are if this application is granted.
Yes, currently we would develop both units and section lines around the same time.
All right, let's go to the next exhibit, E2. Tell us what E2 is.
Exhibit E2 shows the estimated set depths for surface casing at 2,300 feet, intermediate casing at 11,000, and the proposed liner set depth at 26,000 feet. The estimated completion is a 65-stage plug and perf.
Okay, and then E3.
E3
shows the estimated set depth for surface casing at 2,300 feet, intermediate casing at 11,100 feet, and the proposed liner set depth 26,000 feet. The estimated completion would be a 65-stage plug and perf as well.
And then let's go to E4.
In Exhibit E4, we are displaying the reserve basis for the Milwaukee, Indiana, and section line wells. We expect a 1,300 barrel of oil per day IP with a decline rate of 77% and 2,742 SCF per barrel GOR. Our anticipated EUR is 551,000. BO, our anticipated BOE EUR is 803,000. At $60 oil and $3 gas, with a expected 10.8 AFE or well cost, we expect roughly a $3.6 million PV10, 45% rate of return, and a 3.1 year payout. The rest of our parameters are listed below.
Okay, and then E5.
In Exhibit E5, we are displaying the reserve spaces for the Three Forks, Indiana, and section line wells. Again, we expect roughly a 1,300 barrel of oil per day IP with a decline rate of 81% and a 3,113 SCF per barrel GOR. Our anticipated EUR is 476,000 barrels of oil and 723,000 BOE. At $60 oil and $3 gas with a $10.5 million well cost, we expect $2.7 million PV10, 38% rate of return, and a 3.2 year payout with, again, the reserve parameters listed below.
And Exhibit GM1, is that a gas capture affidavit that the commission typically requires in these sorts of hearings?
Yes.
Jacob, in your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect correlative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, it will.
No further questions. Offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Are there any questions from commission staff?
Jacob, I guess, why are you choosing to bring in 4 and 5 into these stand-up 1920s? It looks like it's already included in a laydown 4, 5, and 6. 1920 that's already been drilled. Why change the
Yes.
pattern?
Yes, our unit to the east, or sorry, to the west is the Bracken unit, which is a 3-mile development, and we would potentially consider road development in this area. And so, our plan would be to continue from the Bracken to develop these 2 units with the section line, overall reducing the number of wells drilled with intent of improved economics of those wells and ideally avoid any additional drilling hazards in the area.
How does Continental intend to continue development on section 6, just to the west here? Just to the west of section 5.
Yeah, so that's what I was referencing as our Bracken unit, which is also a 1920 stand-up.
Can you give me the lands that would be in that 1920 stand-up?
This is Matt McMurray, the land witness, and the Bracken 1920 stand-up is comprised of sections 30 and 31, 154 north, 100 west, and 6, 153 north, 100 west.
Isn't the well in 30 and 31 operated by Grayson Mill?
Grayson Mill is operator of that stand-up 1280 and 30 and 31. I believe that's the Bracken 30-31 1H. Continental, back in November of 2021, created a 1920 overlapping stand-up to also include Section 6 for all future wells.
Okay, I do see that spacing unit now. Okay, thank you.
Jacob, on Exhibit E4 and E5, why is the Middle Bakken well more expensive than the Three Forks well?
Because we generally pump larger completions on our Middle Bakken wells.
Okay. And then sections 4 and 5 are currently a laydown 1280, is that correct?
Yes.
So no wells have been drilled in there, so I assume Continental would want that spacing unit terminated?
Correct.
And likewise, 28, 29, 32, and 33 are a lease line 2560?
Correct.
And 32, 33, 4, and 5 are also a lease line 2560. I assume Continental would want those space units terminated.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Jacob, just a couple more things real quick. When you plan to drill across those existing laydown wells in section 4 and 5, how do you plan to drill across them and complete across them?
Yeah, so historically, talking to our drilling department, they'll identify with geology which half the existing well of the formation the existing well bore's in, and target the opposite half of the formation to steer around it. As far as completions go, we would probably complete across them as we normally would.
So you don't intend to blank a stage or anything across that interval?
I believe we've done it both ways. I'd have to confirm with the completion engineer, but last discussed, we would probably complete across as we normally would.
And do you intend to continue producing both of those existing wells?
Yes, we do. At least try to.
These are going to be drilled from north to south. Are you going to have enough, I guess, control of the bit at the end of your 3-mile long lateral to steer above or below that existing middle Bakken? Pretty confident that you've got that one?
Yes, drilling, felt confident about that.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from commission staff? Seeing none? Anything further in this matter, Mr. Bender?
Nothing further.
That will conclude the hearing in case number 29535. Case number 29370, application of Continental Resources, Inc. for an order amending the field rules for the St. Demetrius and/or Bull Snake Bakken Pool, Billings County, ND, so as to create and establish the following: an overlapping 1920-acre spacing unit comprised of Section 32, Township 142 North, Range 99 West, and Sections 5 and 8, Township 141 North, Range 99 West, authorizing the drilling of a total not to exceed 4 wells on said proposed overlapping 1920-acre spacing unit, and 4 overlapping 3840-acre spacing units comprised of Sections 33 and 34, Township 142 North, Range 99 West, and Sections 3, 4, 9, and 10, Township 141 North, Range 99 West, Sections 34 and 35, Township 142 North, Range 99 West, and Sections 2, 3, 10, and 11, Township 141 North, Range 99 West, Sections 35 and 36, Township 142 North, Range 99 West, Sections 1, 2, 11, and 12, Township 141 North, Range 99 West, and Section 31, Township 142 North, Range 98 West, and Section 36, Township 142 North, Range 99 West, Sections 1 and 12, Township 141 North, Range 99 West, and Sections 6 and 7, Township 141 North, Range 90 98 west, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near the section line between existing spacing units on each proposed
Lawrence
overlapping
Bender.
3840 acre spacing unit and or such further relief. This case is continued to September. Case number 29536, application of Enerplus Resources Corp. For an order amending the field rules for the Eagle Nest Bakken so to create and establish an overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit comprised of sections 25 and 36, Township 149 North, Range 95 West, and sections 30 and 31, Township 149 North, Range 94 West, Kenzie County, ND, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near the section line between the existing spacing units of said proposed overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit and or such other and further relief as appropriate. Will all interested parties please come forward?
Sorry, I had everybody on the line, but got hung up, so try it again. Hello? Oh, you guys are there, so. Okay, good. I thought I hung up on you, sorry about that. Okay. So, Lawrence Bender, P.O. Box 1855, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing case 29536 on behalf of Enerplus Resources USA Corp. We'll be calling 3 witnesses in this matter. Mr. Ben Plank will be offering some land testimony. Mr. Topher Lewis will be offering some geologic testimony. And Mr. Julian Hornack will be offering some engineering testimony. These 3 witnesses will be appearing by telephone, and I will get you some exhibits here.
I will swear in your first witness while you do that. Mr. Plank, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Thank you.
Just a minute, Ben, I'm going to wait till get the exhibits handed out, so.
No problem.
All right, Ben, would you state your full name for the record, please?
Benjamin Plank,
And Ben, by whom are you employed in what capacity?
Enerplus Resources. I am the landman for our North Dakota Fort Berthold asset.
And in that capacity, you've testified before the commission previously,
I have.
and you've had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
I'll offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
The testimony will be received as that of an expert.
Ben, let's go to the packet of exhibits that I've distributed to the commission staff. I assume you have a copy in front of you. Let's go to what's been previously marked as Exhibit L1. Tell me what Exhibit L1 is.
Yeah, so Exhibit L1 is just a broad area reference map, which shows the general location of the proposed 2560 acre overlapping spacing unit. It's located in sections 25 and 36 of Township 149 North, Range 95 West, and sections 30 and 31 of Township 149 North, Range 94 West.
Okay, and then let's go to Exhibit L2. Tell us what Exhibit L2 is.
So Exhibit L2 is an operation overview map of the proposed 2560 acre overlapping spacing unit. It's outlined by the red dash line. As you can see, this will overlap our operated 1280 acre unit to the east, comprised of sections 30 and 31 of Township 149 North, Range 94 West, in which Enerplus has a 98.4% working interest. And this would also overlap our operated 1280 acre unit to the west, comprised of sections 25 and 36 of Township 149 North, Range 95 West, in which Enerplus has a 68.5% working interest. This brings our total working interest in this proposed 2560 to an 83.4% working interest.
All right, and then let's go to the next exhibit, which is L3. Tell us what L3 is.
Yeah, so Exhibit L3 is basically the same ownership map we previously saw in Exhibit L2. This just eliminates all the depicted well bores, and so this slide just shows the fly leaf line well, which is planned in the overlapping 2560. It's depicted by the black line, which Enerplus currently plans to drill from the Bradfield 2 pad location in Section 31.
No further questions of the land witness.
Are there any questions from commission staff? Seeing none. Mr. Lewis, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Topher, state your name for the record, please.
My legal name is Russell Lewis, but I go by Topher Lewis.
And Topher, by whom are you employed?
Enterplus Resources USA,
In what capacity?
a geology lead for the Williston Basin.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
Yes, I have.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes, they were.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
The testimony will be received as that of an expert.
Okay, Topher, let's go to the next exhibit in the packet, G1. Identify G1 and just very briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Yes, G1 is a local structure map showing our area and the proposed 2560 overlapping spacing unit outline. The black lines in the background are the Upper Bakken Shale structure at a 10-foot contour interval. The black line in the center of the red box is our proposed location for the fly lease line. And to the southwest, you can see the Deep Creek 1, which is the reference well that we use in this area.
Okay, and then let's go to G2.
G2 expands on the type block for that Deep Creek 1 well. The left column is gamma ray. The second column is resistivity, porosity, and bulk density. And here we highlight the two main reservoir intervals in this area. Upper you can see the Middle Bakken target highlighted in green, and then the Three Forks target highlighted in purple. And for this proposed well, we're planning right now to target it as a Middle Bakken well.
No further questions of the geologic witness.
Are there any questions from commission staff? Seeing none. Mr. Hornak, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yeah.
Jillian, could you state your full name for the record, please?
Yes, it's Julian Hornak,
And by whom are you employed?
Enterplus Resources,
In what capacity?
as a reservoir engineer.
Have you testified before the commission previously?
I have.
And have you had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes, they were.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
The testimony will be received as that of an expert.
Julian, let's go to the next exhibit in the packet. It's been marked as Exhibit E1. Can you identify E1 and then briefly discuss what's contained upon it?
Yes. Exhibit E1 is a generic wellbore schematic of our plan that we're going to build as well.
Okay, how many frac stages are you thinking?
Between 35 and 40.
Okay, then let's go to the next exhibit, RE1. Can you tell me what that is?
Yes, RE1 is an exhibit of the Bakken reservoir parameters for this area, and with a thickness of 36 feet for the reservoir, a porosity of 6.7%, and a water saturation of 28%, with a formation volume factor of 1.3. We're expecting to be able to recover, we're seeing 26.5 million barrels of stock tank oil in place. And the recovery of the existing wells is estimated to be roughly 1.5 million barrels, leaving 5.2 million barrels of recovery, and with 11.5 wells expected to drill the 2560 units, we're seeing roughly 575 MBO per well for those Bakken wells.
Okay, and then exhibit RE2.
Yes, Exhibit RE2 is the economic summary for the fly well, holding an oil price of $60 per barrel and a gas price of $3.60, with an initial capital investment of $7 million and EUR of 575 MBO per well. We're expecting a 71.9% rate of return and before tax payout of 1.45 years.
Okay, and then Exhibit JC1, is that a gas capture affidavit that the commission typically requires in these sorts of hearings?
That is correct.
In your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
No further questions. Offer the exhibits.
The exhibits are admitted. Are there any questions from commission staff? Seeing none. Anything further on this matter, Mr. Bender?
Nothing further.
That will conclude the hearing in case number 29536. Case number 29537, application of WPX Energy Williston LLC for an order amending the field rules for the South Fork and/or Hart Butte Bakken Pool, Dunn County, ND, so as to create and establish the following: an overlapping 2560 acre space unit comprised of sections 9, 10, 15, and 16, Township 149 North, Range 92 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near section line between existing space units of said proposed overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit and an overlapping 3840 acre spacing unit comprised of sections 1, 12, and 13, Township 148 North, Range 93 West, and sections 6, 7, and 18, Township 148 North, Range 92 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near the section line between existing spacing units of said proposed overlapping 3840 acre spacing unit and such other relief. This case is continued to September. Case number 29314.
Lawrence Bender.
Application of WPX Energy Williston LLC for an order extending the field boundaries and amending the field rules for the Hart Butte and/or Twin Buttes Bakken Pool so as to create and establish a 1920 acre spacing unit comprised of sections 1 and 2, Township 147 North, Range 92 West, and Section 6, Township 147 North, Range 91 West, Dunn County, ND, authorizing the
Yeah,
drilling of a
just a minute.
total
We
not
have
to
a few
exceed
more
8
cases
wells,
to go through and
said
then
spacing
what you want.
unit, and such additional relief as the commission deems appropriate. This case is continued to September. Case number 29364, application of WPX Energy Williston LLC for an order amending the field rules for the Hart Butte and/or Deepwater Creek Bay Bakken Pool, Dunn and McLean Counties, ND, so as to create and establish the following: an overlapping 1280 acre space unit comprised of sections 9 and 16, Township 149 North, Range 91 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near the section line between the existing space units on said proposed overlapping 1280 acre space unit, and an overlapping 3840 acre space unit comprised of sections 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, and 11, Township 149 North, Range 91 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near the section line between existing space units on said proposed overlapping 3840 acre spacing unit, and or such other and further relief as appropriate. This case is continued to September. Case number 29538, application of Mercury Resources LLC for an order amending the field rules for the Buford or Briar Creek Madison Pool, McKenzie and Williams Counties, ND, to create and establish an overlapping 1280 acre spacing unit comprised of sections 11 and 14, Township 152 North, Range 104 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on said proposed overlapping 1280 acre spacing unit, and such other and further relief as appropriate. Will all interested parties please come forward?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, P.O. Box 1855, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this matter, case 29538 on behalf of Mercury Resources, LLC. Mr. Examiner, this case was heard before the commission, I believe, in the regularly scheduled July hearings, but there was an advertising hearing. That case in July was 29428. So the case was re-advertised for today's hearing. And all we'd request is that the record from case 29428 be incorporated into this case 29538, and we believe that should be sufficient for the commission to render a decision in this matter.
Would there be any objection from the commission? Comment?
Lawrence, I didn't catch everything you said, but this was not advertised in McKenzie County.
Joining the meeting.
Yeah, that's my understanding. It was not advertised properly in McKenzie County, or wasn't advertised at all, so the case was redocketed. But we did hear the case.
Right.
So we'd ask that the record be included in this
But
case.
the previous one was Williams County only, and now we're correcting that.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Will there be any objection to incorporating the hearing from 29428 into today's hearing? Seeing none, the request is granted. The hearing from case number 29428 will be incorporated into this case, 29538. And with that, is there anything further required in this matter, Mr. Bender?
Nothing further. Thank you for granting the request.
Any questions from staff? Seeing none, that will conclude the hearing in case number 29538. Moving on. Case number 29539, application of Crescent Point Energy U.S. Corp. For an order amending the field rules for the Blue Ridge Bakken Pool, Williams County, ND, so as to create and establish an overlapping 2560 acre space unit comprised of sections 26, 27, 34, and 35, Township 159 North, Range 100 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near the section line between the existing space units of said proposed overlapping 2560 acre space unit and such other relief. Will all interested parties please come forward?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, P.O. Box 1855, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this matter, case number 29539 on behalf of Crescent Point Energy U.S. Corp. We intend to call 3 witnesses in this matter. Mr. Derek Pym is with us in the hearing room, so he'll be testifying live. We also have on the telephone Mr. Dan Lihuli. Lehulier. Okay, thank you. And then he'll be offering some geologic testimony. And then also Mr. Marshall Duig?
Doig.
Duig, okay.
Doig.
Duig, okay, thank you. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
And he'll also be appearing by telephone. Oh, exhibits.
Do you mind if I make sure that they can hear
Yeah,
us?
no, right ahead.
Marshall, Dan, you guys there?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Mr. Pym, I'm going to go ahead and swear you in. Please raise your right hand.
Is that the right set that I gave you?
Nope.
Well, you're going to need those anyway, so just keep them.
Marshall and Dan are smart guys, but they don't know anything about Henry Hill.
Mr. Pym, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
I'm confused because I rarely have a witness here, so.
I'm throwing you off the game. Yeah.
Yeah, you are, so. So, Mr. Examiner, our first witness will be Derek Pym.
And I did just swear him.
Oh, you
in,
did
so-
swear him? Okay, well, I was handing out exhibits, thanks. So, Derek, please state your name for the record, please.
Derek Pym,
And Derek, by whom are you employed?
Crescent Point Energy,
In what capacity?
landman for North Dakota.
Okay, and in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
I have.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes.
No, offer the further testimony, this witness is that of an expert.
The testimony will be received as that of an expert.
Derek, let's turn to Exhibit 1 in the packet. What I'd like you to do is identify Exhibit 1 and then briefly describe what's contained upon it.
Yeah, you bet. So Exhibit 1 is our general locator map. So in the blue outlines, you'll see the field map, and the red outline would be our 2560 proposed spacing unit, and then the yellow shaded would be the 4 sections comprised of that, so 26, 27, 34, and 35.
Okay, and then let's go to Exhibit 2. Tell us what Exhibit 2 is.
Exhibit 2 would be the land plat, just kind of outlining the 1280 spacing unit of 26 and 35, 159 north, 100 west, and Crescent Point Energy would be the working interest owner there,
With 100%.
with 100%, excuse me.
Okay, then Exhibit 3.
And Exhibit 3 would be the other 2 sections, 27 and 34 for 159 north, 100 west, and Crescent Point Energy would be the working interest at just over 89% there.
Right, and then Exhibit 4.
And Exhibit 4, this slide represents all 4 sections that are to make up the proposed 2560 spacing unit of 26, 27, 34, and 35. You'll also see the working interest breakdown for the 2560 proposed spacing unit there.
No further questions for the land witness.
Are there any questions from commission staff? Seeing none. Mr. Lehulier, are you on the phone?
I am, yeah.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Dan, state your name for the record, please.
Dan Lavoulier,
And Dan, by whom are you employed?
Chesapeake Energy Corp,
And in what capacity?
staff geologist.
And you've testified before the commission previously, have you not?
I have, yes.
And you've had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
I have, yes.
For the further testimony of this witness, that of an expert.
The testimony will be received as that of an expert.
Dan, let's go to Exhibit 5. Can you tell me what Exhibit 5 is?
Okay, Exhibit 5 is a structure map on the Middle Bakken, top Middle Bakken. It's in some sea level feet. There's a outline in orange. That outlines our DSU shuttle Elizabeth and Staples. And the proposed well in dashed black is the lease line well that we're looking to drill. The contour intervals are in 20 feet. And at the southern portion of the map, there's a star which indicates the location of our type log that we'll see in the next exhibit.
Okay, and Exhibit 6?
So Exhibit 6 is the type log of the reservoir that we drilled. It's the shaded portion of the type log here, and it's between the two source rocks, the Upper Bakken and Lower Bakken shales, which are identified on the far left track in the TOC track. On this type log, we've got porosity logs, we've got some routine core analysis, advanced core analysis, and advanced log analysis as well. And together, the interpretation of all these tracks, we've got the reservoir parameters that you see tabled below.
No further questions of this witness.
Are there any questions from commission staff? Seeing none, we'll move on to Mr. Doig. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Marshall, could you state your full name for the record, please?
Marshall Doig,
And by whom are you employed?
Crescent Point Energy Corp,
In what capacity?
Senior Development Engineer.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
Yes, I have.
And you've had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
That's correct.
I'd offer the further testimony of this witness, that of an expert.
The testimony will be received as that of an expert.
All right, Marshall, let's go to the next exhibit in the packet, Exhibit 7. Can you tell me what Exhibit 7 is?
Yeah, so here we're looking at the 2560 acre spacing unit that Derek had highlighted. You're looking at 4 wells, all Middle Bakken, being drilled from south to north, and then of course the one lease line, Middle Bakken as well.
Okay, and this exhibit indicates that existing Middle Bakken laterals are a solid line. I don't see any on this exhibit. Perhaps you can go back to the structure map and point out where the existing wells are in this proposed 2560.
Yes, so there would be on the very far east of that 4-well pad, and on the very far west side of that pad, there'd be an existing lateral on either side, so there'd be a total of 2.
Okay, so it looks like there's 2, I think they're surface locations. Is one of those wells, it's hard for me to tell, are they both drilled on 1280s, or is one on a 640 and one on a 1280? Or is one a sidetrack? I can't tell by looking at the structure maps, too small.
Can I take?
Derek, are you familiar with which they fall under?
Yeah, perhaps Derek can answer the question.
Yeah, they'd both be 1280s.
Okay.
Yeah, for drill, and the 2 existing wells are drilled from north to south.
Okay. All right, Marshall, let's go on to the next exhibit then, Exhibit 8. Can you tell me what Exhibit 8 is?
Yes, here we're looking at our well-designed frac prep, so it'll be 958 surface, 7-inch intermediate, and then of course a 4.5-inch liner back to about 40 degrees.
And how many frac stages are you anticipating with your section line wells?
50 stages.
And then let's go to Exhibit 9. Can you tell me what Exhibit 9 is?
Yes. So Exhibit 9, top to bottom, we're looking at a reserves basis. This is a Middle Bakken drill. Initial rate of about 625 barrels per day. Total EUR of about 510. Our gross economics are there at a $75 flat deck. Payout of 1.1 years. And then reservoir parameters below that, again, being a Middle Bakken classification of 350.
So in your opinion, will the requested relief, or excuse me, let's go to Exhibit 10. Is that a gas capture affidavit that is typically required in these sorts of hearings?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And in your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yeah.
That's all the questions I have, Mr. Examiner. We would offer the exhibits.
The exhibits are admitted. Are there any questions from commission staff? Seeing none? Anything further in this matter, Mr. Bender?
Nothing further. Pretty simple. Good seeing you.
We'll conclude the hearing in case number 29539. The time is 10:07 a.m. Why don't we take a quick break?
Okay.
And get back here.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, no
Didn't
problem.
mean to spray that.
back on the record. Case number 29289, application of Foundation Energy Management LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bicentennial Bakken Pool to authorize the recompletion and production of 1 vertical well and 2 horizontal wells in a 640-acre spacing unit consisting of Section 28, Township 144 North, Range 103 West, Golden Valley, County, ND, and for such other relief as may be appropriate. This case is continued to September. Case number 29505, application of Henry Hill Oil Services LLC for an order pursuant to NDAC 43020388.1, authorizing saltwater disposal into the Dakota Group in the Schneiderman 1 saltwater disposal well, northwest quarter, the southwest quarter, Section 20, Township 150 North, Range 99 West, South Tobacco Garden Field, McKenzie County, ND, pursuant to NDAC Chapter 430205, and such other relief as is appropriate. This case has been remanded back into this room. Will all interested parties please come forward?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, P.O. Box 1855, Bismarck, appearing in this matter, case 29505, on behalf of Henry Hill Oil Services, LLC. This matter was previously docketed on the July hearings of the commission, and the commission received some objections, and so the matter was remanded. We believe that the documents that were previously supplied to the commission, which we've copied and submitted again for the commission for if they have any additional questions, are set forth in Exhibit 1. But in addition to that, we have 2 witnesses that we intend to call today to address some of the issues that were raised by Orville Eide.
And I guess at the start, do you have any objection to including that in the record here, those letters we received?
No, because it's already there.
Yeah.
This is the application, so absolutely not.
So that will be we have a letter dated June 17th from Orville and Kathy Eide, a letter dated June 29th from Kathy Eide, a letter dated August 8th, I believe that was from Orville Eide, and a letter August 7th from Orville and Kathy Eide. That will include.
I'm not sure I have all of those. I have a email dated June 17th, and I have another email dated June 29th. And then I see something where he just indicates he had an error. That's
Yes.
August 8th. And then another matter, August 8th. Did I get them all?
Or I had August 8th and then one August 7th.
Okay, so it's probably the one that's on the 7th that oh, I see. Yeah, it was sent to me by Ms. Cattermas on the 8th, so I do have them all, so I'm sorry about that.
Those letters shall be admitted, or are part of the record, and we can begin with, I guess I didn't catch the names of your witnesses.
Yep. First witness is Mr. Jake Burton, B-U-R-T-O-N, and then our second witness will be Jess McGinley.
All right, Mr. Burton, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Jake, would you state your full name for the record, please?
Jacob Tyler Burton,
And Jake, by whom are you employed?
Henry Hill,
In what capacity?
President of Operations.
Okay. And just tell us briefly, what are some of your responsibilities, particularly with respect to saltwater disposal wells?
So with Henry Hill, I pretty much the development of the company, the oversight, the saltwater disposal application, anything that pertains to the growth of the company I oversee.
And is it fair to say that you were involved in making application for a new saltwater disposal that has been docketed as case 29505?
Yes,
Okay. And is it also fair to say that you had an opportunity to review the objections that the commission received from Orville and Kathy Eide?
yes.
Jake, let's talk a little bit about those objections. On the June 17th email from Mr. and Mrs. Eide to the commission, there was a statement made by Mr. Eide that there's a freshwater spring just a short distance north of the proposed location, and any spill or problems would pollute the spring as drainage is downhill to that spring and creek. Can you respond to that briefly?
Yeah, when our engineer went out and did the area review, he didn't identify a spring. And then to mitigate any issues that we might have as far as that is, we do a primary and secondary containment around our disposals.
Okay. And Mr. Idy also stated to the commission that there's an underground aquifer at the location, and I assume what he means by at the location is the proposed site for your saltwater disposal well, which would result in polluting the water source. Can you respond to that, please?
Yeah, part of the permitting process is we have to actually verify where the aquifers are, and we are outside of the mile radius of the major aquifers.
Okay, and Mr. Idy also had some concern about winter road conditions, about whether parties, presumably Henry Hill or others who might be hauling water to the saltwater disposal facility, would be able to get in and out because of snow conditions. Can you respond to that?
Yeah, Henry Hill has adequate snow removal equipment for North Dakota.
And another concern that Mr. Idy has, and I'll quote here, is after doing more research on the Schneiderman 1 SWD, the proposed location is over an aquifer supplying water to both Arnegard and Watford City, close quote. And I know that you talked a little bit about the aquifer previously, but can you address specifically this issue with respect to supplying water for Arnegard and Watford City?
I don't know where the supply from or for Arnegard comes from, but I do know that part of the permitting process, we do that aquifer review, and we are outside of the mile radius.
Okay. And the next concern presented by the IDs was that Henry Hill has a saltwater disposal 1.5 miles from the proposed location in section 13 of 150-100. And he's suggesting that you just use that saltwater disposal rather than permitting and drilling this new saltwater disposal. Can you respond to that?
Yeah, Henry Hill does not have a disposal in that area.
Do you know if there is another saltwater disposal in the area?
Yeah, Sino-Cypress has a disposal. I
Okay.
think that's the one he's referring to in this.
But is it a fair statement that you believe there's a need as a result of checking with potential customers and that you're going to drill this well and you will have business for the well?
Yes, we are actually utilizing some of the capacity on that disposal, and it is not keeping up with our customers' needs in that area, so this is needed.
I don't have any other questions for Mr. Burton. I do intend to call Mr. McGinley.
All right. Are there any questions from commission staff?
Jake, did you reach out to Mr. Idy to either locate or discuss the spring he was referring to?
I have not had time yet.
Do you plan to?
Yes.
And I assume if it's the spring exists, you would sample that?
Yes, we would.
Okay, thank you.
Jake, I was looking through this real quickly. The freshwater wells that you sampled, where are they located? I didn't see Orville ID there. On page 8, you indicate Farmstead of Ben and Tila Wagoneer. But I didn't see another one. Was there another one you sampled?
No, those would be the two that we sampled.
Okay, well, I only said one. What was
There's,
the other one?
on page 8, that shows the two samples.
Well, page 8 is on mine is a affidavit.
Are you looking at the bottom of the page, Bruce?
It's in red. It
Yeah,
says
is that
8.
what you're on?
Yeah, freshwater sample from Jerome Levick and Farmstead of Benjamin and Tila Wagner.
It's what?
Paragraph 2.
Okay, I thought you said that the freshwater samples were analysis were attached. You weren't referring to any analysis then?
No,
Okay. And where is, on 9, where is the other freshwater, the Jerome Lervick, where is that one located? Is that the stock that you've got noted here?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's way on the bottom here, okay. So you have no freshwater wells within your radius or area of review, is that right?
Yeah, there was none within the quarter mile.
And I didn't catch exactly what you said when referring to the underground aquifer. Orville ID indicated there's an underground aquifer. What was your response to that?
When we do the area review, part of the permitting process, we review the aquifer, and major aquifers is part of the process, right? And we submitted that, and we're outside the mile radius of that.
You're outside what?
The mile radius.
Okay. And what aquifer was nearby?
I don't recall.
And what protection are you gonna have on the surface? Are you lining your area with a certain thickness liner, or what are you proposing?
We're proposing a clay liner on this one, 6-inch, with the berm height of, usually standard is 36 to 48 inches. And then primary containment will be a rubber liner.
Okay, thank you.
Jake, are you familiar with the statement by Ms. Idy that the permitting agent stated to her that the new location is not ideal?
Yeah, I'm not, and nobody from our organization ever stated that.
So, yeah, I think you stated that you do the permitting.
I review all the permitting, as requested by NDIC in a previous meeting that we reach out to a third party to help us compile. Whitney compiles our permits for us.
So you would employ the permitting agent,
Correct.
and you're certain that that individual did not make that statement?
I couldn't say whether she did or not.
Okay.
Jake, right below that, on the next paragraph, they said that they've had dealings with Henry Hill in the past when there was a saltwater spill on their land. Do you recall that?
Mr. McGinley is going to address that.
Okay, thank you.
Jake, going back to page 9, right in the center of, or close to the label of section 20, there's a circle labeled stock. What is that?
I'm guessing that's a stock tank for cattle.
You don't think that's a well?
I'd have to refer to ECS on that.
To who? Have to refer to who?
To ECS, that's who
Okay.
compiled this.
So if that is a well, do you plan on sampling that?
We definitely could.
And
Perhaps we can leave the record open and supply that information to Ashley as to whether it's a well or a stock tank.
And then, since you didn't compile this, I don't know, up in the upper right, there's a star labeled test hole.
Yeah, I don't know how that even got on there or what that is.
So you said the location would have a 6-inch clay liner and a 36 to 48-inch berm. Is that like a perimeter berm?
Perimeter berm, secondary, yep.
And as I understand it, the wellhead and the tank battery are not on the same location?
That's correct.
So this 6-inch clay liner and the berm, where is that, on both sites or just on the?
Both sites.
And you said the tank battery itself would have a liner?
Yes,
Is that like with a metal dike and a synthetic liner?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any further questions from commission staff?
I have a follow-up question for Mr. Burton. Jake, Mr. Helms asked you some questions about a permitting agent stating that the new location was not ideal, and I believe your response was, you don't know if she said that or not. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And when you're saying you don't know if she said that, you're talking about if she said that to Mr. Idy, is that right?
That is correct.
Who is your permitting agent? What's her name?
Whitney,
Whitney, what's the last name?
I'm gonna make sure I pronounce it correctly, but McCloskey or something like that? Kowalski?
Okay. Did Whitney ever suggest or tell you that she thought the new location was not on deal?
No,
Okay. Is it typical that your agent would have conversations with landowners when helping you with these applications?
no.
Okay. No further questions.
Lawrence, before we move on, since you're gonna investigate that stock well, I think we would also want to follow up on spring with Mr. Idy.
Okay. And what you're looking for there is the location, is that right, for the spring?
Spring, and if it exists, and if, you know, I assume if it does, that they would likely sample it.
Okay. All right.
Anything further from staff? Seeing none, we can move on to Mr. McGinley.
Yep.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Jess, state your name for the record, please.
Jess McGinley,
And Jess, by whom are you employed?
Henry Hill,
In what capacity?
General Manager.
And is it fair to say that you're generally familiar with the application that Henry Hill has made in this matter that's before the commission today?
Yes.
Okay. And you were present in the room when Mr. Burton testified as to the various concerns that Mr. Idy had, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. One of the concerns that Mr. Burton did not address was the issue, a statement saying that that Mr. Idy had had dealings with Henry Hill in the past on a saltwater spill, and he has some statement, quote, "They wanted everything immediately, but were extremely slow in making restitution for damages," period, close quote. And then another very brief quote, "It appears to be a poorly managed company," period, close quote. Let's start first with the spill. Do you know anything about the spill that he's referring to?
Yes, it was a pipeline break that we had in late August of 2019. It was a pipeline that ran close to Mr. Idy's property, and the water did run into his property. And to gain access to do the cleanup, we need to get his permission to actually go onto his line to begin the cleanup. So that was the urgency. What he's referring to is that we needed immediate action to be able to go in there and start mitigating that spill.
Okay, I want to make sure I understand. So there's a spill off-site, the water does run onto Mr. Idy's property. You want to clean it up quickly, so in your view, and probably Mr. Idy's view, that you came with him with some requests to urgently get on his property, is that correct?
Yes, we're required to clean up any water that's on the ground, and because it ran into his property, which we don't have a right-of-way into, we needed his permission to be able to do that illegally.
Okay, and do you have any idea what he might be referring to in terms of Henry Hill being extremely slow in making restitution for the damages?
Yes, by the time we finally was able to get that finalized and settled, it was in March of the next year, so about 6-month delay in that. The delay was really, the insurance company wouldn't sign off on a complete resolution until Mr. Idy signed off that it was complete, so the lawyers became involved, and it was a lot of back and forth getting terminology complete. Once that was done, we cut the check the same day that we had his lawyers sign those documents.
Okay, so one of the reasons, in your view, that it took some time was because insurance was involved and you had to have agreements signed that he was being paid in full, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And he did ultimately sign those agreements?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember the dollar amount that he was paid? And I'm not saying that you have to,
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
There, and as well, we had at this corollary with this was the actual tenant who was farming the land. We had to reach those coterminous agreements at the same point in time.
prior to this email being received by the commission, were you aware at all that Mr. Idy was not happy with the time it took for him to get paid?
No.
That's all the questions I have.
Are there any questions from commission staff?
Just following up on the spill itself, did DEQ oversee the cleanup on that?
Yes, because it went into private property grounds. That's where the DEQ got notified to start that process.
Okay, and did they sign off on the cleanup?
Yes.
Okay. And Lawrence, are you gonna have somebody address the pore space issue and migration of fluids?
I was not. To me, that's a potential civil issue or contractual issue, which I don't think the commission has jurisdiction over. I don't think it should be a condition for the permit being granted. If there's a problem down the road, I think there are remedies for Mr. Idy to pursue, but it wouldn't be before this commission.
Okay, well, you just addressed it, so,
What's that?
you just addressed it, so,
Oh,
thank
okay.
you.
Any further questions from staff? Seeing none. Mr. Bender, there was a request for a supplement, I suppose. What kind of timeline do you think you'll need?
How much time do you guys need? 10 days? 10 days. Yeah, I don't, I'm terrible about having a calendar, Mr. Examiner. If you have something in front of you.
Yeah, I can never read it because the dates are far away. So you said 10 days?
Yeah,
So that would put us, I think, into Sunday. The following Monday would be September 5th.
and
Oh,
that's
that's
a
a holiday.
holiday, so the 6th.
September 6th?
Yeah, that'll work.
All right. The record will remain open until September 6th for supplement. All right, and anything further in this matter?
Nothing further, thank you.
And that will conclude the hearing in case number 29505.
Thank you guys for coming down.
Concludes the regular hearings for August 25th.